Mr. Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. And Ms. Mills, thanks for coming in today. My colleague, Mr. Schrader, mentioned that it's the purpose of SBA to help small businesses access capital when they can't do that in the private marketplace. What's SBA's mission in 20 seconds, 24 seconds?
In the access to capital area, we also have disaster operations. We run small business, $100 billion of federal contracts go to small business, and that's just a win-win situation. And we have a network of counselors, mentors, advisors that are as equally as important as the capital. Under access to capital, where the market is functioning, where a small business can get a loan from the market, why should taxpayers subsidize that activity? Because the market is handling it. But there are many, many small businesses out there that don't have access and opportunity. And that is where we have been able to step into the market, as you just saw in this credit crisis, and provide that access and opportunity.
I actually chair the Access to Capital Subcommittee, and we held a hearing a couple months ago and brought in heads of community and small banks and asked them pretty directly why they weren't lending to small businesses, knowing full well this is where the bulk of small business gets their capital. And their answer was fairly clear and equally direct. Our hands are tied. Government regulations have made it darn near impossible for us to lend to small business. I'm curious, have you heard the same sort of thing?
Well, as I said earlier, we work very closely with the regulators on guidance to small business. And out in the field, we hear the same thing you have, which is that the guidance that has come down from Washington has been interpreted more tightly at the regional levels. And when we have had these conversations, we have gotten very strong assurance that the regulators will work with us to make sure that the guidance that they think is proper is the guidance that is being affected at the community bank level and in the regional level. We want to make sure the pendulum is in the right place and it hasn't swung too far back.
Take that pendulum. Do you feel that it's swung too far? I can tell you that I've probably spoken to the heads of 20 or 30 community banks in my district in the last 6 months, and to a man and a woman, they all say it has the last couple of years. They've seen a noticeable uptick. Are you sensing any of that?
Well, that's a matter for the regulators, but our role was to bring it to their attention that we were hearing concerns and to make sure that they took their guidance all the way down. Our job is actually to make sure that we also provide the product that can take some of that risk out of the system and allow them the opportunity to make some loans they want to make, but for various reasons can't fulfill the total risk profile on their books right now.
But you have heard that concern at that level.
We have communicated. I go out every week. I'm somewhere different in this country, and every week I have a roundtable of bankers and small business owners, and so I have a pretty good sense that in the middle of the summer, I think everybody, small business owners, bankers, everybody, had a moment of pause, and we did go to the regulators and have conversations to make sure that everybody stays on the same page and access to capital is within the proper constraints available to small businesses as much as possible.
Well, if you're out there, as you say, and I believe that you are, I'm convinced then that you've heard the same thing most of us have heard when you speak to small and community banks, that they are suffocating right now. Their hands are tied. Many of them, yes, many of them allude specifically to Dodd-Frank. Yes, I'd be happy to.
Dodd-Frank will not apply to those community banks whose assets are less than $10 billion, and those are the community banks that are in our districts. I am a member of financial services, and I work on Dodd-Frank.
And I'll close with this, and thank you. I guess they're not convinced of that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.